If you're ready to improve the quality of your audio, then I've got the audio series just for you. Welcome to the official podcast for National Podcast Post Month. My name is Jennifer Navarrete, and I'm the founder of NaPodPoMo. This podcast is your guide to navigate your way through the 30-day Global Podcast Challenge. In this episode, we're kicking off the first of a three-part series. We're going to talk about recording your podcast as it relates to the environment. And in the next episode, it'll be around gear and tech, what I call the 4 levels of podcasting. Then in the final episode in this 3-part series, I'll wrap it up with a nice bow and share tried and true practices I found helpful throughout the years. Let's kick things off with some simple truths. When it comes to good audio, you already have everything you need to be successful right now. What? Yeah, it's true. If you have a mobile phone, then you own the production studio in your pocket. Whether that is audio or video podcasting, you're ready to go. Now, having said that, I will say how you use your mobile phone in order to create a warm and rich audio experience for your listeners is key. Let's start with your recording environment. This is usually the one thing most folks either don't know they should consider or forget to add into their podcast production process. Now, what do I mean by environment? Well, I have a recording done on my phone to audibly illustrate exactly what I mean. So, how can we increase the warmth of our audio? How can we make what we're doing sound better? So right now, I am talking to you with just my phone and my Bose inline headset. So it's got a little microphone inside of the wire that's connected to the phone. So what can I do to improve this audio? Well, I'm in a room that's got a lot of hard surfaces, so it sounds a little thin to me. I mean, I've got some curtains, I've got some stuff, but there's wood floor, high ceilings, it's a big room. It's not as good as it could sound. So I'm going to do something really simple. Number one, if you have a walk-in closet, that's always going to be the best place for you to record because it is the built-in sound booth in your home that doesn't cost you a dime. If you don't have one, there's other things you can do. But I'm just going to talk about me in this room. So right now, I'm going to throw some bedding over my head, and let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so I've got bedding over my head now. Now, if you're in this room with me, you're like, you look ridiculous, but you're only hearing me. And if I hadn't told you that was the case, you may or may not know. I'm guessing that the audio sounds just a bit warmer because I've removed the majority of the room and the echo by shrinking it down to this bedding that's on top of my head. So it's me, the phone, the headset, and that's it. And so I've shrunk down where the sound waves can bounce around. And because I have cloth around me, that's kind of absorbing some of those sound waves. But could I get better? And the answer is yeah. Yeah, I could. So right now, I'm on an iOS device. I'm on an iPhone. And on an iPhone, if I swipe down from the upper right corner and go diagonally to the lower left corner, an option pops up and it says mic mode. Now, right now, this is on standard. And if I push that button, the next option is voice isolation. If I click on voice isolation like I did right now, this is what I sound like. Isn't the audio vastly improved here? And I'm still underneath the blanket, by the way. So given that I now have voice isolation, could I remove the blanket? Which the challenge with having a blanket over you is that it gets hot. I'm going to remove the blanket. And now I have no blanket, but you can hear me in this large room with lots of hard surfaces. Voice isolation improves the quality of your audio. Now you're like, I don't remember what you sounded like before. So this is voice isolation. This is standard. And I'm sure you can hear more of the room. And now I'm going to go back to voice isolation. And now you hear more of me and less of the room. And that's the real key when you're trying to get good audio, is that you're trying to minimize the room and amplify your voice so that the audio hopefully picks up more of the rich timbres of your voice and less of the thin, hollow, echoey sounds of the room. Now, there are a whole heck of a lot of other things that you could do, but here are 2 quick, simple tips that you can do in general. Did some light bulbs go off when you heard the difference between the audio experience in a wide open space with lots of hard surfaces to a smaller room with soft surfaces to buffer sound? And in that case, having a blanket thrown over my head. And what about the standard to isolation mode feature in iPhones? Pretty cool, huh? Even in a large echoey room filled with hard surfaces, simply switching from standard mode to isolation mode made quite a difference in the audio experience. Now, for Android users, I've been told that your phone already has that feature built in and is not a setting that must be toggled on or off. So if that is indeed the case, then you are already able to get an isolated sound experience, which I think is a very nice thing. Now, let's say that you do want ambient sounds in your recording. And you may be thinking, wait, why would I want to do that? Well, it could be another character in your audio that adds additional texture to your audio recording. Now I have a second recording for you, and it is one where you want ambient sound in your recording. And you'll be going, wait, what? Didn't you just do a whole section on removing the environment in your recording? Yeah, that's one thing. But let's say that you do want the ambient sound in your recording, and you may be thinking, but why? Well, if you've been listening to the NaPodPoMo 2024 mega feed, then you will have heard from Paul Omani and SM2N. The background sound, the ambient sound, is part of their show. When Paul is walking outside, I can hear the crunch of the leaves. I can hear the wind. I can hear the dogs bark. I can hear the birds chirping. When SM2N is in his kitchen stirring what I think is soup with a wooden spoon, or at least that's what it sounds like to me, I'm in his kitchen with him while he's talking. And there's so much value to that additional character, which is that ambient sound in your audio. Now, I record a daily voice on X, and I'm going to share an audio example of what I'm talking about. And I'll also link to Paul and SM2N's episodes for further reference in the show notes. But listen to this first.
Happy Friday. Oh my, happy Friday. Ooh-wee. So this particular daily voice on a day that is overcast and a little breezy and gray is specifically for the NaPodPoMo episode that I'm about to record, because I want to talk about ambient sound and audio. So there is the version of you using audio where you want to mute all ambient sound because you want the focus to be on your voice. But then there's also the other side of this where you actually want the sounds of what's around you to add texture and layer and depth to what it is that you're doing. And you'll notice that when I started this recording that I opened the door, and it's a squeaky door, which, by the way, the squeaky door has fans. And then you probably heard a little bit of the wind. Maybe you heard a bird chirping or something. Maybe you heard the wind chimes behind me or whatever. But this ambient sound that you are hearing in the background is part of the audio experience. It's purposeful. It's intentional. This is another consideration when you're creating audio. Sometimes, yes, we need to have all external sources muted because the focus should be on us, our voice. But there's also another part where it can be an additional character in your audio.
Cool, huh? Okay, so what I want you to take away from this episode is 1, how to buffer unwanted environment sounds. 2, why allowing your environment into your audio can actually deliver an enhanced audio experience. When it comes right down to it, you decide how your podcast is going to sound, whether you want to buffer that sound or whether you intentionally invite your listeners into your world with ambient sound added as a key part of your podcast brand. Now that you've got a few episodes under your belt, you may want to dig even deeper into what podcasting can offer you. Take a look at what NaPodPoMo sponsor Blueberry has to offer podcasters, from hosting to pod to vid or vid to pod, and all sorts of AI data and stats. Don't know what I'm talking about? Go to blueberry.com and find out for yourself. Use promo code NaPodPoMo for 1 month of free hosting. And if you're looking for community, the daily NaPodPoMo support session hosted by Creative Work Hour is available to you every single day this month. You can also connect with your fellow NaPodPoMo community on Facebook, X, or Hive. Links for everything is in the show notes. Now, in the next episode, we'll look at the 4 levels of podcasting.